It is time now to lay down the law. John's here with some special guests this morning.
All right, guys. Thank you very much, Cody. We got Chuck and Dan from Del Rio and Associates this morning. So we got some legal issues. We got guys that can answer the questions for us. I want to get with some of the topics. So the first one we have is this Ocean's Gate. Folks might remember this is the submersible that went down, supposed to go down to the Titanic, obviously ends in disaster. The family of one of the people on that submersible is now suing. They want $50 million. I'm assuming there had to be lots of stuff signed ahead of time, but does that necessarily prevent a lawsuit?
Well, so this is the kind of debate with any high-risk activity. You've always got the issues of, for instance, here, it seems like there were some warnings that there was concern that this wasn't manufactured properly, that the submersible had safety groups that were out there ever since like 2018 that were warning that this design may not be as rigorous as it could be, that it should go for safety certifications. The CEO, Stockton Rush, decided he did not want to go down that route, wanted to do something innovative and new, and thought that this would stifle him. So he made some conscious decisions here that definitely can be looked at. On the other hand, it could be considered one of these ultra hazardous or dangerous, risky activities that you're getting involved in, where when you do them, you naturally take on a certain element of responsibility because you know you're getting involved in something risky.
The family of the man who's suing, he's a veteran of many dives down to the Titanic. Could the lawyers argue that, look, this guy was aware of the dangers when he went?
I mean, more than most. Let's say,
Yeah.
I think he said it's something like 37 trips down to the Titanic,
Yeah.
5 different submarines. So yeah, this is a guy who's fairly aware. He also was considered by the crew to be a member of the crew. He was intimately involved. Him and the CEO had huge discussions about all the new cool safety features. So it's really going to come down to, like I said, a battle over how much responsibility the people who sign up for an activity like this, and in his case, even further, may have been involved with the company to an extent, versus the fact that the company made some very, very well-known and very real decisions in changes outside of the norm of safety elements.
Yeah.
I mean, down to using basically like a PlayStation or Xbox style controller to go ahead and control the sub. So
Which I feel like would have been I'm going to go ahead and skip this one. If you're controlling it with a PlayStation controller, I'm out. I want to talk about the other issue. We had that CrowdStrike software outage that wiped out all kinds of different businesses, really shut them down. Delta Airlines being one of them. Passengers were stranded for days. Last time you guys were here, we talked about the possibility of legal action, and here we have it. What's going on there?
Yeah, so the last time we were here, we talked about the new laws that went into place that talked about automatic refunds in many different aspects, one of them being this particular case where you have flights that are canceled. When a flight is canceled, the airlines have to automatically refund you the full flight cost plus taxes, fees, and any other extra costs so that you get a full refund, even if they operate at a loss. As everyone's aware, we had that one really bad day where the software went bad on almost every one of the airlines. And as a result, many, many, many flights were canceled. Well, with regards to Delta in particular, it took many days for them to get back up, more so than any of the other airlines. And as a result, they canceled so many flights.
People
I think
were
one day.
stranded, things like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were just canceling them over and over and over again. In fact, my sister-in-law got affected by that. But what's really happening is they're not honoring the new law. And there's a lot of instances where they're saying, hey, look, we can give you a partial refund, or we'll give you a little bit of credit on this other thing. And so as a result, there's now a class action lawsuit saying, no, that's not what's going to happen. And they're going to go after them, and they're very likely going to prevail and get all of their monies back.
Yeah, what would be the argument against not providing the refunds?
I think
we don't want to?
I think what they could do is they could say something along the lines of, this is such a massive thing that it wasn't intended by the executive order of the law to say, we aren't set up to have to deal with this. You can't make us honor this law because it was so egregious.
I see. One of the big issues now with kids going back to school are cell phones in schools. The school districts are banning them in some cases, or making them, where you can't use them in the classroom. We're seeing some parents, funny enough, push back on this. Do you anticipate we're going to see legal action from parents? Will this end up in the courts?
I can see that there being legal action from the parents under two circumstances. One, you're going to have parents saying, well, how am I supposed to get a hold of my kids? And the school districts have already kind of fought back on that and said, call the school, we can get a hold of your kid at any given time.
The way we did it when we were kids.
Exactly. The second thing that you're going to see, which is actually wrong, is that parents are going to say, well, this is a violation of my children's civil rights, which when you're in school, there's actually case law that says students in school have less civil rights than your regular citizen.
Interesting.
And the reason why is because schools have to be able to policy your children. They have to be able to take charge and they can go through your backpacks. They can, say you can't say certain words, wear certain clothes, things of that nature. So they might try to bring these actions, but ultimately it's very likely that they're just going to lose. And as a result, students aren't going to have the cell phones. In fact, Governor Newsom is trying to pass a law that he previously tried to pass in 2019, which is not going to allow the cell phones in. And he's citing that it's unhealthy to have all these social media platforms and things like that for students. So we might see that.
If we could have a law that kept our cell phones out of our hands at work, that'd be great.
I would love it. I would be all for it.
Chuck and Ann from Del Rio and Caraway, thank you so much, gentlemen. We appreciate the insight.
Thank you very much.